Accountability is a cornerstone of personal and social relationships, ensuring that people take responsibility for their actions and decisions. In a world where mistakes and misjudgments are inevitable, holding individuals accountable fosters a culture of growth, respect, and trust. Without accountability, the value of commitments diminishes, and the consequences of actions are easily dismissed, leading to chaos and broken relationships. It is through accountability that individuals learn the importance of integrity, responsibility, and respect for others. When someone fails to deliver on their promises or violates boundaries, their actions impact more than just themselves. They ripple through relationships and communities. Accountability acts as a mechanism to address this impact by demanding recognition of the mistake and its consequences. It also creates an opportunity for personal growth. For instance, when someone is held accountable for their actions, they are encouraged to reflect on what went wrong, why it happened, and how to prevent it in the future. This reflection is essential for self-improvement and ensures that lessons are learned rather than mistakes repeated. Accountability also reinforces trust, which is the foundation of all healthy relationships. When people know they will be held accountable, they are more likely to approach situations with sincerity and a sense of duty. Conversely, a lack of accountability breeds carelessness and disrespect. It sends the message that actions don't matter and that there are no real consequences for betrayal or negligence. This erodes the trust that binds individuals together and makes it difficult to sustain meaningful connections. In professional and personal contexts, accountability acts as a safeguard against complacency. In the workplace, for example, accountability ensures that team members meet deadlines, uphold quality standards, and contribute to shared goals. Without it, productivity suffers and tensions arise as responsibilities are neglected or unfairly distributed. In personal relationships, accountability strengthens bonds by showing that each person values the other's time, emotions, and expectations. Accountability is not just about assigning blame or delivering punishment. It is a constructive process aimed at fostering understanding and improvement. When someone is held accountable, it is an opportunity to rebuild trust through actions rather than empty words. Apologies lose their meaning when they are not followed by efforts to make amends and change behavior. Accountability bridges this gap by ensuring that the wrongdoer not only acknowledges their mistake, but also takes tangible steps to rectify it. On the flip side, failing to hold people accountable can lead to resentment and a breakdown of relationships. When someone repeatedly lets us down without facing consequences, it sends the message that their actions, and by extension, our feelings, don't matter. Over time, this dynamic can damage self-esteem and make it difficult to set boundaries in future interactions. By prioritizing accountability, we establish clear expectations for how we deserve to be treated and create an environment where respect is mutual. Accountability is a form of respect for oneself, for others, and for the commitments that bind us together. It ensures that mistakes are addressed, trust is rebuilt, and relationships grow stronger over time. Without accountability, there can be no genuine progress, only a cycle of unfulfilled promises and unresolved conflicts. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether personal, professional, or societal. It is built over time through consistent actions, honesty, and a mutual understanding of expectations. When trust is broken, however, the damage can be profound, leaving wounds that are difficult to heal. The fragility of trust lies in its deep connection to vulnerability. When we trust someone, we open ourselves up, believing they will honor that faith. Betrayal or failure to uphold this trust can shatter that belief, often irreparably. When trust is violated, the first and most immediate consequence is emotional pain. This pain stems from the realization that someone we relied on did not value our trust enough to protect it. This betrayal creates a sense of insecurity and doubt, not just in the individual who broke the trust, but often in others as well. For example, if a friend shares a private secret without permission, it can lead to a hesitancy to confide in anyone in the future. The ripple effects of broken trust go beyond the immediate relationship and can alter how we approach connections and intimacy altogether. Repairing broken trust is an arduous process requiring immense effort, time, and patience. Unlike the initial building of trust, which is often gradual and natural, rebuilding it after a breach is fraught with challenges. The person who was betrayed must overcome feelings of hurt, anger, and skepticism, while the person who broke the trust must consistently demonstrate remorse and a commitment to change. This process is rarely straightforward, as every misstep or delay can reignite doubts and fears, making progress even more difficult. Another obstacle to repairing trust is the inherent imbalance that arises after it is broken. Before the breach, both parties are on equal footing, with mutual expectations and a shared understanding. Afterward, the person who betrayed the trust is often placed in a position of proving their worthiness, while the other person holds the power to decide whether forgiveness and reconciliation are possible. This dynamic can create additional strain, as the person seeking forgiveness may feel frustrated or burdened by the need to constantly validate their intentions, while the other party may feel pressure to decide whether the relationship is worth salvaging. Broken trust often leads to a heightened sense of caution, where the injured party becomes hyper-aware of potential signs of betrayal. This vigilance, while understandable, can create tension and hinder the rebuilding process. For instance, in a romantic relationship, if one partner has been unfaithful, the other may struggle with feelings of suspicion and constantly question their partner's actions. This lack of ease can prevent the relationship from returning to a state of normalcy, even if both parties are committed to reconciliation. While trust can sometimes be repaired, it is never quite the same as before. The scars of betrayal remain, serving as a reminder of what was lost. This altered dynamic underscores the importance of safeguarding trust and valuing the vulnerability it represents. Trust, once broken, is not just hard to repair, it changes the fabric of the relationship, leaving behind a version of it that may never fully resemble what it once was. This reality highlights why trust should be treated with care and respect from the start. Patterns of behavior are recurring actions, habits, or responses that individuals exhibit over time. These patterns often provide insight into a person's character, priorities, and decision-making processes. While people may make occasional mistakes or face lapses in judgment, consistent patterns reveal deeper tendencies that are unlikely to change without significant effort or motivation. Understanding and recognizing patterns of behavior is crucial in both personal and professional relationships, as it allows us to predict future actions and make informed decisions about trust, boundaries, and expectations. Behavioral patterns are typically rooted in a person's values, experiences, and mindset. For example, someone who consistently shows up late to meetings or commitments may not prioritize punctuality, while another person who frequently offers help without being asked likely values generosity and service. These patterns emerge not just from conscious choices, but also from subconscious habits developed over time. As such, they can be difficult to alter even when someone recognizes the need for change. In relationships, patterns of behavior play a critical role in determining compatibility and trustworthiness. If a partner frequently dismisses your concerns, it signals a lack of empathy or willingness to engage in meaningful communication. If a friend habitually cancels plans at the last minute, it reflects a tendency toward unreliability. While an isolated incident might be excused as a one-time mistake, repeated actions demonstrate a pattern that is unlikely to improve without deliberate effort. Recognizing these patterns early can help set realistic expectations and avoid disappointment or frustration later. The persistence of behavioral patterns is largely due to their roots in habit and reinforcement. Actions that are repeated become ingrained, forming neural pathways that make them easier to replicate in the future. A person who routinely avoids confrontation might continue to do so because it feels safer or less stressful than addressing conflicts directly. Over time, this avoidance becomes a default response, even in situations where confrontation might be necessary or beneficial. Breaking such a pattern requires conscious awareness, effort, and often external support, such as therapy or accountability from others. One of the challenges in addressing patterns of behavior is the tendency for people to justify or rationalize their actions. For example, someone who frequently lies might claim they are only doing so to protect others' feelings rather than acknowledging the deeper issues of insecurity or fear of rejection that drive their dishonesty. This self-justification can make it difficult for individuals to recognize the harm caused by their actions and take steps toward change. For those on the receiving end of harmful patterns, it is essential to establish boundaries and communicate expectations clearly. Allowing someone to repeatedly engage in negative behavior without consequences only reinforces the pattern and signals that it is acceptable. On the other hand, setting firm limits and holding the person accountable can encourage them to reflect on their actions and consider making changes. Patterns of behavior are a reflection of who we are at our core. While people are capable of change, such transformation requires genuine self-awareness, effort, and a desire to improve. Recognizing and understanding these patterns not only helps us navigate relationships more effectively, but also provides a pathway for personal growth and self-improvement. Protecting your energy and boundaries is essential for maintaining emotional well-being, mental clarity, and overall quality of life. In today's fast-paced and often demanding world, we are constantly surrounded by people and situations that can drain our energy if we're not careful. Whether it's through toxic relationships, excessive responsibilities, or emotional overcommitment, failing to safeguard our boundaries can lead to burnout, resentment, and a loss of control over our own lives. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries is not selfish, it is a vital act of self-respect and self-care. Energy is a finite resource, and how we choose to spend it directly impacts our physical and emotional health. Engaging with people or situations that consistently drain us without offering reciprocal support depletes this resource and leaves us feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. For instance, dealing with a friend who constantly brings negativity into conversations, or a colleague who offloads their work onto others, can zap our energy, leaving little for ourselves or the people who genuinely deserve our time. Protecting your energy means recognizing these dynamics and limiting your exposure to such drains, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Boundaries serve as the protective framework that helps you preserve your energy. They define what is acceptable and unacceptable in your interactions and relationships, acting as a guide for how others should treat you. Setting boundaries often involves saying no to requests or behaviors that infringe upon your well-being. While this may feel difficult, especially for people who are naturally empathetic or conflict averse, it is a necessary step in prioritizing your own needs. For example, declining a social event when you're already feeling stretched thin is not rude, it's an act of self-preservation. Maintaining boundaries also means being intentional about where you focus your attention and effort. Not every problem requires your involvement, and not every person deserves unrestricted access to your time. Learning to discern between what truly aligns with your values and priorities and what is merely a distraction is key to protecting your energy. This might involve reducing time spent on unproductive activities or limiting interactions with people who bring unnecessary stress into your life. One of the challenges of protecting your energy is overcoming guilt and societal pressures. Many of us are conditioned to believe that saying no or prioritizing ourselves is selfish. It's important to remember that constantly giving without replenishing your own reserves benefits no one in the long run. When you take care of yourself, you are better equipped to support others and contribute meaningfully to your relationships and responsibilities. Enforcing boundaries also requires clear communication and consistency. When you establish a boundary, you must communicate it respectfully and stand by it, even if others resist. For example, if you decide not to answer work emails after hours, consistently adhering to this rule reinforces your boundary and trains others to respect it. While there may be pushback initially, over time, people will adjust to your limits. Protecting your energy and boundaries is about valuing yourself enough to prioritize your well-being. It allows you to live with intention, build healthier relationships, and create a life that aligns with your goals and values. By taking control of where your energy goes and setting clear boundaries, you empower yourself to thrive without being pulled in directions that diminish your sense of self. Consequences are a natural and essential part of life, serving as powerful tools for learning and growth. Every action has a result, and facing the outcomes of our choices teaches us responsibility, accountability, and the value of making thoughtful decisions. While rewards for good behavior reinforce positive actions, consequences for mistakes or missteps provide equally important lessons. They push individuals to reflect on their actions, understand the impact, and work toward improvement. Without consequences, growth would stagnate, and the ability to navigate life's complexities would diminish. When someone experiences the consequences of their actions, they are presented with an opportunity to learn from their mistakes. For example, if a student fails to prepare for an exam and receives a poor grade, the resulting disappointment and frustration can serve as motivation to study harder in the future. The experience of failure, though unpleasant, is often a more effective teacher than mere warnings or theoretical advice. It turns abstract concepts like effort leads to success into concrete realities that individuals can internalize and act upon. Consequences also play a critical role in shaping character. They foster a sense of accountability by demonstrating that actions have a direct impact on outcomes. This realization encourages individuals to take ownership of their behavior rather than blaming external factors or other people for their shortcomings. For instance, in a workplace setting, an employee who misses a deadline and faces the consequences, whether in the form of constructive feedback, loss of trust, or a delayed project, learns the importance of time management and responsibility. Over time, these lessons help individuals develop traits like discipline, reliability, and self-awareness. In relationships, consequences establish the importance of respect and boundaries. If someone repeatedly disrespects a friend or partner and the relationship suffers as a result, they may come to understand the value of communication, empathy, and consideration for others. Without consequences, such behavior might persist unchecked, harming not only the relationship but also the individual's ability to build meaningful connections in the future. By facing the repercussions of their actions, people are prompted to change and grow in ways that strengthen their relationships. Consequences are also a vital part of societal structures. Rules and laws are designed with the understanding that actions carry consequences, whether they are rewards for compliance or penalties for violations. This system maintains order and ensures fairness. For example, traffic fines deter reckless driving not just by punishing offenders, but by creating a deterrent effect that encourages safer behavior. Without these structures, chaos and injustice would prevail, as there would be no accountability for harmful actions. It is important to distinguish between punitive consequences and constructive ones. The goal of consequences should not merely be to punish, but to teach and guide. Constructive consequences are those that provide individuals with a clear understanding of what went wrong and how they can improve. This approach fosters growth rather than resentment, making it more likely that individuals will learn from their mistakes and avoid repeating them. Consequences are not about failure, but about opportunity. They provide a mirror that reflects the results of our choices, encouraging self-reflection and transformation. While they may be uncomfortable or even painful, they are essential for personal development, teaching resilience, accountability, and the importance of making deliberate, thoughtful decisions. Embracing consequences as part of life's learning process empowers individuals to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of navigating challenges. Focusing on people who value you is one of the most empowering choices you can make in life. Relationships are the foundation of human connection, and the quality of these relationships significantly influences your emotional well-being, personal growth, and overall happiness. Surrounding yourself with people who genuinely appreciate, respect, and support you ensures that your time and energy are invested in connections that uplift rather than drain you. This practice not only fosters healthier relationships, but also strengthens your sense of self-worth. People who value you demonstrate their appreciation through consistent actions, not just words. They listen when you speak, show empathy for your struggles, and celebrate your successes without envy. They respect your boundaries, honor your individuality, and never make you feel like you must earn their care or approval. In such relationships, you feel seen and understood for who you truly are, which fosters trust and mutual respect. These connections are reciprocal, with both parties contributing equally to the bond. This balance is essential because it prevents one-sided relationships, where one person gives endlessly while the other takes without reciprocation. Focusing on people who value you also means letting go of those who don't. While this can be difficult, it's an important step toward creating a more fulfilling and balanced life. Relationships that are characterized by neglect, manipulation, or indifference can be toxic, eroding your confidence and emotional stability over time. For example, a friend who only contacts you when they need something, or a partner who dismisses your feelings, is unlikely to provide the support and care you deserve. Continuing to invest in such relationships out of habit, guilt, or fear of loneliness ultimately prevents you from cultivating deeper connections with those who truly value you. Prioritizing people who value you also protects your emotional energy. Every relationship requires effort, but this effort should feel meaningful and rewarding, not exhausting or burdensome. When you surround yourself with individuals who appreciate your time, contributions, and presence, you are less likely to feel drained or unimportant. These positive relationships act as a source of encouragement and strength, helping you navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and optimism. Focusing on those who value you enhances your self-esteem. When you are surrounded by people who genuinely care for you, you begin to see yourself through their eyes, which can counteract negative self-perceptions. Their encouragement and belief in you can inspire you to take risks, pursue goals, and grow in ways you might not have considered otherwise. Being around people who undervalue you can perpetuate feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt, making it harder to recognize your own worth. Focusing on people who value you requires self-awareness and courage. It involves evaluating your relationships honestly and being willing to make changes, even when it feels uncomfortable. It also means reciprocating the care and respect you receive, as strong relationships thrive on mutual effort and appreciation. By investing in these meaningful connections, you create a network of support and positivity that enriches your life and allows you to thrive. The quality of your relationships shapes the quality of your life, making it essential to prioritize those who truly value and uplift you.